Hello all, in this video we will see different regularization techniques. So regularization is basically used to penalize complex models in machine learning. Actually it is used to reduce overfitting by keeping the network weights small. So if the network weights are small, it assumes that the model will become very simple and it helps the model to generalize well, thereby reducing overfitting. That is, the very high values of regression coefficients are kept at minimum using some penalties, adding some penalties. So the basic assumption in regularization is if the network parameters are very small, the model will be very simple and it will not overfit. So what happens is it appends penalties with complicated models. That is, with every model it is appending some penalties, and it will regularization techniques can also arrange models in the sense that it is starting from lowest overfitting model with greatest overfitting model. So it can rank models based on their overfitting or based on their complexity. So the assumption is higher the complexity, higher will be the overfitting. So in this video we will see L1 regularization, L2 regularization, early stopping, dataset augmentation, then parameter sharing and tying, then injecting noise at input, and dropout regularization. So we will start with L1 regularization. Whether it is L1 regularization or L2 regularization, we have some penalties to add. So both of them are very similar or very related. So we will see L1 regularization first. You know that the output of a network, say y predicted output, is calculated as sigma wi xi plus bias, right? So this is how we find out the predicted value of a network. Definitely it will be passed through activation functions and all. Now we know that the loss function is usually calculated as y, the actual value minus the predicted value y cap, right? So the loss function is actually a function of the error function. We will use some error function, could be a mean square error or something like that, or mean square error or something. So error function of y minus y cap, and that is how we find loss function. So in L2 L1 regularization, what we do is we also add a term with this. That is, with all these things that you already know, we'll be adding one more term, which is actually the penalty. So here we have the parameter lambda and sigma I is equal to 124. All weights in the model will be summing up the absolute values of weight. So this is actually the penalty. This is actually the penalty that we use in L1 regularization. Here lambda is a parameter, its value is greater than 0 and that must be manually chosen. Okay. So the penalty here is we are simply adding up the absolute values of weights. And you know that in gradient updates we have to find out the contribution of weight in error, right? That is, if you are calling in L1, the loss L1, you know that you have to find dou L1 by dou W. That is, the contribution of weights in the error must be found out in backpropagation and similar networks which are using gradient descent algorithm to update the weight values. So that is W mu is equal to always W all plus minus alpha into dou L by dou W, where L is the loss. Okay, we used to use error or L or anything. Now, so we have to differentiate it. So the L1 term here is actually this whole thing, right? And when we, and you know that W is directly appearing on this part alone. That is in sigma absolute values of weights divided by dou W. See, this absolute value function is not a differentiable function. So what we can do is we have to use approximations. So what we will do is we will define this quantity as 1 if weight is greater than 0, weights are positive, minus 1 if weights are negative, and that is how you take its differentiation. Okay. So hope that is clear. So dou W, absolute value of W divided by dou W is defined as 1 if weights are positive and minus 1 if weights are negative. So you know that we have to let's do error into y minus y cap plus lambda into sigma is equal to 1 to n sigma wi with respect to weight value, right? So when you take this, you know that this function is unaffected. So this function is unaffected, and you get error of y minus y cap plus lambda when w greater than 0, and error of y minus y cap minus lambda when w less than 0, right? So when you write it in the equation of weight update, you will get that w mu is equal to w all minus alpha into, now this weight update, right? Error of y minus y cap plus lambda when w greater than 0, and w mu is equal to w all minus alpha into error y minus y cap minus lambda when w less than 0. Isn't it? See, so what happens is, so here there is already a negative sign, so this will become minus lambda, and this will become plus lambda when we take it out of the brackets, right? So what happens is, when lambda is positive, when w is positive, lambda is greater than 0, and it will make w to be least positive. When w is positive, this quantity is, when w is positive, this lambda is being subtracted, making w less positive. When w is negative, this value of lambda will be added up, making it bit less negative. So in that way it can keep the parameter, keep the weight value small. I repeat, when w is positive, lambda is greater than 0, and will make w to be least positive by subtracting lambda, by subtracting this. So when w is negative, this will be added up, making w less negative. So that is how L1 regularization keeps the parameters very small. So that's all about L1 regularization. Remember, regularization is actually include or incorporate a parameter value or adds a parameter value, so that it penalizes the complicated models. That is, the value, the weight values or the coefficient values, the bias values are kept at minimum, assuming that the model will be very simple when these parameter or coefficient values are small. So that is what L1 regularization does. And you have L2 regularization. Here what do we do is, instead of adding absolute values, what we add is, we add the squares of weights. That is, instead of adding absolute values, we are adding squares. So when you differentiate, you will get, when you differentiate it, you know that you will be getting, it is 2, when you differentiate w square with w, you will get 2 lambda w, right? So that is what you get. See here, since this function is very differentiable, the computations are very easy. So you will get error w all minus alpha into y minus error of y minus 2 lambda w. So that is what you get always. So the computation is very simple. So that is how it penalizes the weight values here by adding a term of 2 lambda w. So here also this value is being subtracted, because this minus will be multiplied with this plus. So the value of w is 2 lambda w. A parameter like that is being subtracted from that, so that the weight values will be kept at minimum. So the advantage of L2 regularization, this is most commonly used L2 regularization, because the parameter w square is easily differentiable, and the model is a bit more complicated compared to L1 regularization model. So this can easily identify complicated patterns, but the calculation very simple here. So that is L1 and L2 regularization. Okay. So here in L1 it penalizes the sum of weights, and in L2 it penalizes the squared sum of weights. So that's the difference. So how this is clear? Now we will see other regularization methods. L1 and L2 are the most common regularization. Okay. Now the next regularization that we will discuss is early stopping. So as the name suggests, we will stop the training process a little bit earlier. See, because you know that if you are plotting time on the x-axis and the cos function on the y-axis, or the loss function on the y-axis, you know that as we increase, as we go on training, the training error will keep on decrease. But when it comes to the validation set, what happens is validation error will keep on decreasing, and at some point it will keep on increasing. So this is the point of early stopping. When the validation accuracy is getting worse, you have to store the model parameters at that point and take those parameters for further training the model. That is, there is no point in continuing after this point because the validation error is increasing. That is, these the values of weights and biases or the other parameters after this point doesn't contribute to the any improvements in the model. So we can stop the process here. So this is early stopping. That is, we will stop learning the model when the performance in the validation set get worse. So this is actually an implicit regularization. That is, we are identifying this point and stops the regularization without stop the process without doing anything. L1 and L2 regularizations were explicit regularizations because we were explicitly adding parameters to train the model. Okay, so here this is an implicit regularization. Now we will see dropout regularizations. In dropout regularization, what happens is, we have discussed dropout in our previous video. So dropout means, so assuming that these are the two inputs to a neural network, and this is input 1, some feature x1, some feature x2. So if the feature x1 has a very high importance in the network to predict something, it will be multiplied with very high values of weights, right? But if x2 is found to have very small importance, it will be having very small weight values. So the network will rely highly on x1 and will not be given much importance to x2. So a very high importance to x1 will tend to overfit the model. But x2, so what happens is, in dropout, if we are setting the dropout of the inputs from this, for example, if we are setting the dropout of this neuron to be some small value, say 0.5, this will not be, this neural network will act as if this node is participating in the prediction activities only 50 times out of 100. If we are giving a high importance to this, this means that in 80% of the times this neuron is participating in predictions actively. So that is the idea behind dropping out. That is, we are ignoring a subset of neurons from participating in predictions. We are ignoring them so that the other neurons will also get significant importance. If we are treating this neuron very highly, there is a chance that the neural network will overfit. So when we are ignoring it sometimes, the other neurons will also get importance so that the model can generalize well. So for input layer, neurons are actually really important because they are identifying core features from the input. So usually 0.8 or higher will be the dropout for input layer neurons, and for hidden layer neurons it can be 0.5. See, whereas 0 means no output from a neuron, the neuron is completely ignored. 1 means no dropout, that means the neuron will be always participating in prediction activities. So this is the scale between 0 to 1. The input layer will be having 0.8, that means 80% of the times the neurons will be participating in prediction activities. For hidden layer neurons, it is 50-50 chance that the neurons will be participating in predictions. So this is how you set the dropouts. So hidden layer neurons can be ignored many times. That is what it means. Whereas input layer neurons cannot be ignored that much because they have an insight into the core features of the input. Okay, so that is dropout. Again, it is used to avoid overfitting by giving equal importance to different neurons and by not giving over importance to some neurons. And data augmentation, as we have discussed in one of our previous videos, is the process of making different changes to the data so that we have load more data into the data set. That is, we can, if it is an image, we can rotate the image, we can flip the image, we can rotate it by different degrees, we can take a crop part of the image, so that we have lots of data into a data set for training so that our model can generalize well and it will prevent overfitting. Okay, so that is data augmentation. Now we have parameter sharing and tying. See, parameter tying means that two parameters are related. For example, this parameter, the parameter values of the network A and B are somehow related. So they are sharing a norm. They are represented using a norm. So they are having some kind of relationships between them. So we have to enforce those relationships always. So that is parameter sharing, parameter tying. Now we have parameter sharing. Sharing means the parameters of model A and parameters of the model B are exactly equal. So we don't have to store the parameters of both models. We just have to store parameters of only one model. So that is what parameter sharing is, so that we can keep the complexity of the model minimum because we don't have to store lots of parameters. Now the next is injecting noise at input. I'll show you that injecting noise at input kind of acts like L2 regularization. See, that means if you have X1 input, we'll be adding some Gaussian white noise to the input and we'll feed that to a neural network. If we have X2, we'll add some error E2 to the input. If we have X3, we'll add some error E3 to the input. All these errors are completely independent and we will give it them for processing. So when you reduce the training error of the network, you are not exactly reducing the training error of the data. You are reducing the training error of the noise data. So that there will be less chance of overfitting because you are not, you can't just work towards keeping the error loss of the network much because there is always noise, so that the model can generalize a little bit more. So that is the concept of adding noise. See, this is kind of data augmentation. That is, we are adding something to the data and making the data a little bit different. So that is what data augmentation. So let's use xi tilt to represent the actual xi plus error. So you know that y cap is usually sigma wi xi, right? But here y tilt can be defined as sigma wi xi tilt. So that is nothing but y tilt is equal to y cap plus sigma wi ei, right? So this is how we can define y tilt. We'll see that now adding noise is kind of equal to L2 regularization, and that is what I am attempting to do. Now if you are taking expectation of y tilt minus the actual value, what you will get is, this is actually expectation of y tilt is actually y cap plus sigma wi ei and minus y the whole square, right? So this in turn is y cap minus y the whole square, y cap minus y plus sigma wi ei the whole square, right? So expanding this this is y cap minus y the whole square minus plus 2 into y cap minus y into sigma wiei plus sigma wiei the square. Sorry, expectation. So see each error, this is actually 2 into y cap minus y into wiei the whole wiei. So you know that the covariance is absolutely 0 when you take expectation, because each error is independent. It is independent of the value of y. Then the errors are independent of each other. So when you do this, you will get expectation of y cap minus y the whole square plus expectation of wiei the whole square. See, wiei the whole square means you are taking here you are taking squared sum of weights also, right? So squared sum of weights was what this L2 regularization was doing. So adding Gaussian white noise is kind of L2 regularization. What happens is weight decay. So all the regularization methods that we have discussed are aiming at reducing the weights of the model or reducing similar parameters of the model. So these methods are actually known as weight decay methods. I mean, not every method, but L1 regularization, L2 regularization, then injecting noise and input. All these were aiming at the weight decay. That is, they were trying to reduce the weight of the network, assuming that a lower weight network will be very simple and will prevent it from overfitting. So these methods are known as weight decay methods also, weight decay regularizations also. So hope that is clear. That's all in this video. Thank you.